Drag racing fan, Monday Morning Racer here. We're live with Between the Slicks. We've been given the command to light fire, and we are going to keep rolling on through the burnout box, get things staged up, fire on down the drag strip. Got a stacked show tonight for you. Hey, remember, we're taking your questions. So hit that like button, share this broadcast, drop those questions for Caleb Cox, Hector Arana Jr., and Johnny Pluchino. They all representing Funny Car, Pro Stock Motorcycle, and Mountain Motor Pro Stock, Extreme Pro Stock in the PDRA. Well, look, let me bring in the guests tonight, get a brief introduction. We'll have a hard break and then come back for questions from the Monday Morning Racer and your questions right here on Between the Slicks. First, going to bring in Caleb Cox. Caleb, man, look, it is great to have you on tonight. Let me also publicly say thank you for the access into the Cruz Pedregon Racing shop. Folks, if you want to see the shop tour, you can see that on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. Caleb, thank you, and how you doing tonight?
Doing well, Lee. Thanks for having me on, and absolutely, you're welcome by the shop anytime.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that Fan Appreciation Day. Is that still going to happen with everything that's going on?
As of now, I think we're still going forward for it, but, I'll talk with Cruz, and once we get closer, we'll make a final decision.
Awesome, awesome, man. Well, look, we're going to come back to you after the hard break. Let's bring in Johnny Pluchino and Hector Arana Jr. Johnny, Hector, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing great. We're on our way to Indy.
Awesome, guys. I'm glad you're on the way to Indy. Yes, folks, they are on the way. As you can see, they're in a minivan. Team members is driving. John's in the passenger seat. Johnny, how is it that your dad is in the passenger seat? I would imagine he'd been in control of the whole deal.
He drove for a couple hours. He's seat back, getting some shut-eye now, so.
Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, look, we'll be with you momentarily and give the first round of questions here on Between the Slicks. So, folks, look, please chime in just like Sam has done. Sam says here, hi, Lee. Sam, I hope you're doing well. Folks, we want to take your questions. We want to get your input, and we're going to go to Caleb next, right after this word from our main presenting sponsor, strutmasters.com.
Looking for the perfect do-it-yourself air suspension kit for your truck? Strutmasters has got it. Our complete heavy-duty air suspension kit comes with everything you need. It bolts right in with no modifications. You can have it all. Heavy-duty hauling and towing performance and the smooth ride you crave. Get a complete air suspension kit for your pickup at strutmasters.com or call us at 866-597-2397.
You got to love Lou Santiago. By the way, folks, you can find his YouTube channel, Garage Insider TV. Go check it out. A lot of good material with Lou. He's getting the ball rolling in the restoration fab world. Got a lot of great projects such as Kenworth, the Chevelle, even a slow bourbon. Yes, Suburban. Caleb, man, going to bring you back on. You being the general manager of Cruz Pedregon Racing, and, you know, you don't have any gray or white whiskers. It's actually quite amazing that that's the case. So you being a young man, 30s or under 30, being general manager, you know, how did you arrive into this position working for Cruz Pedregon?
Well, the story goes as I'm born and raised in Brownsburg, Indiana. Probably the only person on tour that's actually from Brownsburg. Went to Brownsburg High School. Went to Indiana State University. Was a football player there, and was finishing up my college degree, and needed an internship my final semester to graduate. Well, there was nothing in football going on at the time, and so, you know, I thought I missed the deadline. I came back home, got a job at the local Lowe's, and my father, who's a huge drag racing fan, he's been to the U.S. Nationals, I believe, every year since '78. He said, well, all the drag racing teams are here in town locally. Why don't you send something over there? So sent a resume, didn't really think much about it, and got a call from then team manager, asked if I could fill in. The assistant that goes on the road with Cruz is having a baby. Would I be interested? I said, absolutely. I'll get my internship done doing that. So did all that from November or from Bristol to the end of the season, and then kind of left Cruz and went to do a sports agent job, which is what I went to school for and which I thought I really wanted to do. Kind of like into a week of that, I was thinking, you know what, man, like sitting at a desk 16, 17 hours a day just isn't for me. So out of the blue, Cruz gave me a call and asked if I wanted to go to West Palm Beach to go testing with him. And absolutely, I'd rather go to West Palm Beach than stay in Brownsburg during middle of January. And at the end of testing, he offered me a job as the team manager. Then I had just turned 22 at the time, and 29 now, almost 30, and we still have a nitro team. We still have great sponsors, and we're still out there racing.
Well, man, you must definitely be doing something right for Mr. Pedregon then. That's definitely got to be the case. So, briefly, give me a rundown. What are the responsibilities for you as general manager in a nitro team? What's the day-to-day? What are the serious moments? What are even the fun moments?
Man, it's I would say from team to team, it's going to differ. My job, since we're a small team, small company, I think we have 14 total employees in our company. I try to do and help out as much as I can. So my real jobs are, obviously PR, social media, marketing, contracts, find the sponsor, get the details of the sponsors, try to make that difference coming in, and then, help out wherever, try to design merchandise, Photoshop items, selling, going with Cruz autograph sessions, meeting people. So I've, even for the last few years, I've helped in the car, whether, teaching guys how to pack parachutes, how to do Cruz's safety gear. The list goes on and on. I'm an athlete at heart, so you plug and play me wherever you need me to go, and I'm always there to help out. So in my eyes, I feel like I do the job of like 6 people at DSR or some of the bigger teams, but I just try to help out as best as I can. I'm a competitor, and I want to win, and I want to do whatever I can to help us win.
Well, you definitely living up to the title of general manager then, with all those different hats in that role and position. So, Caleb, look, hang on. I'm going to bring in Johnny and Hector. Got a question from a fan here from Scott. He says, "Hi, Lee. Hey, Scott. Hope you're doing well." He says, "Hear about SEMA." So, guys, I'm sure you all know that SEMA has been canceled. That's one of the biggest shows in the automotive industry anywhere in the world. And I've got to ask to each and every one of you, what do you think the domino effect is going to be with SEMA being canceled? What is next on the chopping block, possibly?
I'd say PRI probably, right? I mean, it's tough to get that many people in one building. It's probably PRI. It's tough. It's something you look forward to break up the winter and meet a bunch of people and companies and everything. But how could you not expect it to be next?
Right, for sure. I think PRI is definitely on the list, sadly. I was really hoping to catch that even over SEMA this year. We were talking about it before going live. What NHRA races do y'all think are legitimately ones that can get in for the remainder of the season? Caleb, I'll let you pick up on that one first.
Honestly, I think Bristol's a possibility. I think Atlanta's a possibility. Maybe Gainesville. Houston and Dallas, I'm kind of iffy about. I think Charlotte's probably a no. Reading's probably a no. Pomona's a no. So I think maybe there's another 4 or 5 that we could actually go to. St. Louis. I mean, us as a team, we tested in St. Louis the last couple of days. So I think there are some that we can get to. It's it's local governments and letting fans inside the track, because fans are what help drive our sport.
Right. Is it not fascinating that the Indy 500 with Speedway Indiana is literally 1 county away from having fans? It is absolutely fascinating. Johnny, Hector, what do y'all think? Especially you, Hector, with Pro Stock Motorcycle. I mean, this is just going to be the 2nd race of the year for your camp. That's got to be challenging enough. How many do you think y'all are going to get in this year?
It's kind of scary over here in Long Island, New York, it's bad over here. We got hit hard. I actually tested positive myself. So our perspective, mine and Johnny's, is probably different than like Caleb's in Indiana. So for us, you know, it's a little, you know, we're venturing out of the state where it's really bad. But I hope we can get some more racing in. I love riding my Pluchino motorcycle, but we also got to be safe too. So we'll just have to play by ear and see what happens.
Right. And Johnny, you know, first NHRA race this year with Mountain Motor Pro Stock, but you've already got several races under your belt in the PDRA. But the PDRA is having to do a little bit of race jockeying and placing races that were scheduled at another track. And Virginia with VMP is kind of becoming the PDRA's Indy. So how do you think the PDRA has been handling all the shifting and jockeying in this COVID year?
They're doing the best they can. Hats off to them to get some racing out there. You know, fans want to see it. First race out, it was Galat, no fans. They made it happen. Then we have some other races that were supposed to be at Maple Grove that, again, the rules and regulations didn't allow for it, so they moved that to Virginia. They had to cancel Norwalk. I mean, there's been a lot of race jockeying around. It's tough on racers. It's tough on the organization. It's tough on fans. But you know what? It beats the alternative of not racing at all. So again, hats off to them for doing everything they can to get some racing in, because in a time like this, you want to get out there and do as much as you can as safely as possible.
Right. You know, I applaud the PDRA, NHRA, NASCAR, many of these other organizations in racing. They've tried to get something out there wherever they can in a very, very challenging year. From a driver's perspective, I know it can be frustrating to have these cancellations and jockey these things around, but how frustrating is it to hear the fans at times bickering so much when the organizations are doing all they can do? You, Johnny, and Hector.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing is either somebody announces something and then you have, three sides of arguments after the fact. It seems like they can't do right no matter what they do, you know, so it's difficult. It's everyone has their opinion. I understand that, but they're just doing the best they can, trying to follow rules and regulations, not trying to harm anybody. If they don't race, everybody will say, hey, they should have raced and we needed something to watch. If they do race, people will say, you know, you should be home. That's not as important as lives. So sometimes you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So just everyone needs to be mindful of each other's safety, and that everyone's putting their best foot forward to try and make something happen.
Yeah, it's just to add to what Johnny's saying, with NHRA and PDRA, they're trying their best, and they're limited by the state regulations right now. So we're happy that we're able to get some racing out there, and hopefully the fans appreciate everything that we're doing to go out and put on a show for them. And we just kind of respect each other and be safe.
Definitely. Well, guys, look, I'm going to bring all the gang in, so I'm going to take just a moment and plug a partner, and each and every one of you, you're on warning. I need that best drag racing story, all right? Drag racing story. And Johnny, Hector will pick up with you first after this promotional plug. So any good drag racing stories you got, that's up next, guys. Now, folks, I want to mention to you about Gearhead Coffee. Gearhead Coffee, a coffee that I personally drink and sip on. I personally like the most. Their Texas Pecan. It's beadlocked theme, off-roading. Put a little cream in there, and man, it's like liquid candy. But you being a gearhead, yeah, you're watching right now, and you're a gearhead, you're a drag racing fan, a motorsports fan, it is the coffee for you. Check them out, gearheadcoffee.com. When you purchase, promo code MMR10 gets you 10% off. So check Gearhead Coffee out at gearheadcoffee.com. Also on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Well, let me give you a drag racing story. We will go back to Caleb in a few moments, but after my story, we'll go first to Johnny and Hector. So look, guys, you have Caleb here. He's the general manager of Cruz Pedregon Racing. Cruz, I think, oftentimes, and I'm going to let Caleb speak to this, gets a bad rap, really. First time I ever interacted with Cruz, first time I'd ever met the man, I walk up to him at the U.S. Nationals last year. He'd been having a rough year, to say the least. Wasn't that great of a U.S. Nationals. And he finally got done with signing some autographs for some fans. There's a point. He was signing autographs and interacting with fans even after having a tough year to that point and a tough U.S. Nationals. And he doesn't know who I am, never seen me in his life. I'm like, hey, man, can I get an interview? Few minutes. And he said, sure. He brings me into the pit, says, just wait right here, got to handle a few things. He goes, does what he needs to, comes back as he said he would, and gives me an interview there at the U.S. Nationals. And that's a two-time funny car champion. So look, folks, these guys, give them time, give them moments. Don't always take everything you hear at face value, as it were. Interact with them yourselves and see how they are. And we're going to let Caleb in a few moments even speak on what it's like truly, actually working for Cruz Pedregon. All right, Hector and Johnny, look, give me that best drag racing story you got. Hector, give it to me, man.
Best drag racing story would have to be March 2018, Gainesville, Florida. Dropped the clutch Q2 just after the big announcement that Denso Spark Plugs was going to put out a big reward to go 200 miles an hour. And bam, we go 200 miles an hour. Leading up to that race, we were debuting the new EBR body style. We had body parts shipped to the track, and we were mounting the fairing on the bike Friday morning. We put so much effort working on the new body style that the motors are pretty much left over, just freshened up from the year before. And the first pass was a little rusty. And then, we were like, man, the weather's going to be good. We're going to miss the opportunity. We're not ready to go 200 miles an hour because, a lot of racers were knocking on the door. And then I popped the clutch and we make the run, and I'm coming down the return road, and all of a sudden I see people jumping and going crazy. I see the 200 mile an hour banner come out, and I believe I was racing next to Jimmy Underdahl, and I didn't have a good light, and we spun the tire off the hit. He was in front of me, so I'm like, man, did he go 200? There's no way. And sure enough, we come around the corner, and they came running to me, and I couldn't believe it, to be able to be the first pro stock motorcycle to go 200 miles an hour. To get that for Lucas Oil and my dad, something we've been working on for a very long time. And to be the first ones to bring that home and to be the first to go 200 was that's probably the best moment, greatest memory I'll have of drag racing.
Man, that is definitely going to stand up there for your entire life and for the lives of drag racing fans everywhere for you doing that. You're the Bill Koopman of Pro Stock Motorcycle. So there you go, first man to 200 miles per hour. That's stellar, man. And look, folks have been knocking on that door and trying for a very, very long time, and y'all were able to push on through it. So that is stellar. And yeah, that is an awesome story. Johnny, look, I've hung out with you and your dad. You've got some doozies. So lay one down on me, man.
All right, I'm gonna go PG stories only here. I guess I'll preface it with saying, we're a small team. It's just me, my dad, couple volunteer guys who chip their time in, and we always dreamed years of being able to race on the pro level, and my dad was running the pro stock car, and I got an opportunity to race this Pro Outlaw 632 class, and we did it in 2018 quite a bit. We did well. I won the championship, and we both won races that year, but we were never able to win a race together. We both went to the finals once or twice together, and one of us would win and the other would lose. And we say, all right, 2019 is going to be our last year running the two cars, and we come out to the first race of the season. Galot Motorsports Park, currently my favorite racetrack, and we go out there and we both go to the finals again, and you know that when you're going rounds like that, you're both in the finals. You're not just going to be able to do that time and time again. There's too much tough competition out there. And we were back-to-back pairs, and I back my dad up on the radio, and he backs me up on the radio. So he goes out there, and he gets the win in the final round. And, we always wanted to win together. And now, he's top end, and I'm buckling in the car. They waited for us. So I'm buckling in the car. He comes down, and we're rolling in the water box. I'm going, man, you can't mess this one up, And we happen to get the win on that one. So, you go through, come back, and share a winner circle together. Was pretty special for a team like us where, we just, years ago, we just dreamed of qualifying on a level like this. And to go out and take 2 trophies like that the same weekend and share a winner circle together, not too many moments could beat that.
Man, Johnny, look, thank you for sharing that one. I know you got some funny ones. I know you got some R-rated ones, but thank you for sharing that one, because that's cool. And what it says of how far your dad have come in this drag racing deal, because there's some trophies already this year. I'm sure there's going to be some more trophies this year. And, I mean, honestly, I have got to get both of you mic'd up for an entire race weekend. I think I would have probably the best video I've ever had on my YouTube channel. It is absolutely hysterical. So thank you for sharing that moment between you and Pops.
Do
and
a lot of editing. You might
right. Right. I'd have to do an intro that before you go into this video, please hide your children, or something of that nature. I would have to, definitely. I definitely would have to do that. So, yeah, editing might have to happen. I couldn't have that one monetized. It would just be on there for YouTube for recording the hilariousness nature of it. So, Johnny, look, thank you for that story. Well, guys, look, we're going to go over here to Caleb. Caleb, man. Looking forward to what you've got for me on story-wise, because, I mean, you've been doing this for a while, but, I think you've got a different perspective on things. So, being general manager, but being in the nitro world, but, you're not unfamiliar with the cars themselves. So, yeah, definitely interested in what you got, man.
Man, I got plenty of stories, I think, but one of my favorite moments is Englishtown 2015. We had just come off of racing in Topeka. We had lost to Courtney Force in the final. She became the 100th woman to win. And so we were kind of bummed. Show up to Englishtown, and Friday night, me and Cruz are walking over to go do an autograph session, and a fan, total Jersey fan, and said, "Hey, Cruz." And I kind of looked up. He goes, "Hey, you suck." And I thought, all right. And Cruz kind of looked at me. He goes, "What did that guy just say?" I said, "I think he said you sucked." So we kind of just laughed about it and walked on. And then this is all during the ET wars. So at the time for funny car, I think 398 was the world record at the time. And we had set the car up to where it was either going to haul or it was going to smoke the tires at the hit. And the car took off, and it went 395.9, which at that time was the quickest CT in funny car history. I've never had just about every nitro crew member, every nitro driver come over to our pits, shake our hands. Force came over without his fire suit, walked in the trailers, shook everybody's hand, gave Cruz a hug. And then Sunday, we go from number 1 qualifier. We smoked the tires in round 1 and won. Smoked tires in round 2 and won. Smoked tires in round 3 and won. And then in the finals, we raced Dell in the DHL car, obviously tribute to Scott, who lost his life there tragically. We ended up winning the race, ran, I think it was 418 or 416 to a 418. Won the Wally. Cruz took the Wally and told me, "You know what, I'm going to go give this to Connie." So he autographed it and signed and said, "To Connie, one of my heroes." We missed Scott and left the winner circle, drove over to the Coletta pits, handed that to Connie, gave him a hug, and then came back to the winner circle. So that's probably one of the coolest moments in my career.
Dude, that is definitely a cool series of moments to do the ET deal, then to win the race like y'all did, and it meaning so much for Cruz and Connie. Definitely, that's top story. That's top story right there. That is awesome, man. And look, speaking of the demeanor and nature of Cruz, and like what I was mentioning earlier to ask you, Death Trap Hot Rods, fan of mine, been following along for a ride. He says this: Cruz is a cool guy. Thumbs up. And man, look, just be honest with us. What's it like working for Cruz Pedregon? Because there is this rap out there that he is just a total jerk to work for, and I've talked with you privately, and you've said otherwise. So, for the whole world, for everyone watching, what's it like working for Cruz Pedregon?
Working for Cruz has got to be like working for any other person that owns a business or a company. The only difference with Cruz is he's an athlete. He's a race car driver. So his life is invested in this business. He's competitive. I don't see that as being a jerk or being this or that. His life is in this. I mean, this is what he's driven to do. Does he get competitive and get fiery at times? Absolutely. If nobody was fiery and competitive, then would they accomplish anything? If Force wasn't as driven as he is, would he be the champion he is today? So, you hear it all the time. Cruz is a jerk. Cruz is this. He doesn't sign autographs. He owns a race team that he built from nothing. He drives the race car. He's got 2 world championships. He's tied for 5th all time in wins, and he tunes the car. I don't know of, besides Tim Wilkerson, who can do that. So he has a lot of stuff on his plate. What I tell people is he's the true American dream, from nothing to small business owner to two-time world champion. And that's something I can take as a young man, young business-minded person that I can feed off of. Does he get into my butt and chew me out once in a while? Heck yeah. But is it malicious? No. Is he making me better in the long run? Absolutely. And some guys, you got to have thicker skin, especially in sports. We're athletes. You got to be willing to take a chewing once in a while. So, no, working for Cruz has been great. It's almost been 10 years now. I've seen from the highs to the lowest of lows, back to the highs, what this drag racing sport is. So, he is the best owner out there, in my opinion. He takes care of every single guy. He goes above and beyond. Stories that I would never tell out in public, but this guy is 100% about racing, 100% about his team, and turning his team into a family.
Yeah, man. I mean, Cruz, when I was there at the shop a couple of weeks ago, everybody seemed like they were in a good mood. They're having a good time. They're working, sure, but it wasn't like there was this dark shadow over, the shop because of Cruz Pedregon. No, it seemed completely opposite. Everybody having a good time. They seemed like they were glad to be working at Cruz Pedregon Racing. And, again, you've got like the Fan Appreciation Day that happens around the U.S. national time frame. I mean, I don't know if any other race team's really doing something like that. Cruz is like the only one that comes to mind that's doing something like that, and he has more drivers over there than just Cruz. So it's an awesome, stellar deal. So yes, a lot on his plate, and with you saying that and giving a little insight into what Cruz goes through, look, explain to us just how different drag racing is compared to NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, because I've noticed just the short time I've been closer to it that drag racing is drastically different for like a hired gun driver. They're not making as much as people think. So how does it work, these guys getting into seats and getting into cars in drag racing?
Well, it's obviously sponsor driven. You need the funds to go racing. So your 2 ways of getting into a seat is either bringing a sponsor and finding a team owner to drive that car, or starting your own team. For a nitro team, you need $2 to $3 million a year to run a car. So it is extremely expensive. It's hard to go into, and a lot of guys don't, last because you have to be very, very smart and very, very meticulous with your money and ideas. Now, not to say that like a team like ours pinches pennies. Like Cruz is very adamant that, hey, can I not put the best parts on my car? I cannot afford not to. So I will spend whatever it takes to have the best equipment on our car at all times. So that's the business part. The difference between like a NASCAR, an IndyCar, Formula One, and you'll see this with all the drag racing crews, is you're not just a crew guy. You're a truck driver. Not only are you a truck driver, you're a truck mechanic. You're a generator mechanic. They don't show on Fox Sports 1 when you're dumping the tanks at 2 o'clock in the morning after driving home. So drag racing guys, you set up the pit, you set up the awnings. Some help set up hospitality. You crew on the car, you race the car, you tear everything back down, you drive to the next city. So in my personal opinion, drag racers, drag racing crew members are the most hardcore of the racing fraternity.
Right, it's definitely a different world. You know, one of the, I would say top drivers in Pro Stock right now with one of the top teams. I'll leave him unnamed, but basically he owns the truck and trailer. He owns the car. It's his crew members, but he falls under the Elite Motorsports banner because he puts that engine in there. But he's making money from what he wins and what sponsors he brought to the table. So definitely a different gig in drag racing, and you're obviously seeing that more and more. Look, Caleb, thank you for your insights. Hang on. We're going to go back over to Johnny and Hector and give you a little break.
Cool.
Johnny, Hector, let me go back to you real quick. So, man, look, there has not been a lot of drag racing for Pro Stock Motorcycle this year. Y'all run a limited schedule anyway. You know, it worked out that the first 2 races of the year didn't have Pro Stock Motorcycle originally scheduled. Anyway, I'm curious. Have you hopped on any other type of bikes, gone to any other types of races, got some bracket racing in, anything like that, or was Indy 1 that first opportunity for Pro Stock Motorcycle for you?
No, Indy 1 was the first opportunity. It's been, like I said, it is very nerve-wracking to go that many months without making a pass on the bike, and then you get to the track and you're excited, and then when you roll up to the starting line because you're going to go make a test it, it's like, man, do I remember how to let out the clutch? So it's a little nerve-wracking when you're about to go make a full wide-open pass, and you haven't done it for a few months. So I believe it was about 6 months before since I had let the clutch out. So it was pretty nerve-wracking, but it's exciting. It gets your adrenaline going. So that's why we do the sport. We love the passion of the competition and the adrenaline. So I did a lot of practicing on my practice tree on my basement so I could stay fresh with my lights. And that was what I did to prep for Indy.
Man, sorry to hear that there was no other racing opportunities for you until Indy 1 came along. That's tough. I bet you were chomping at the bit to get back out there on that bike and send it down the quarter mile for sure. Man, that's tough. That's tough that it worked out for you guys that way. Because I know being on Long Island, it's tough enough to get racing in, period. Both you and Johnny can talk about that.
Yeah, we were just discussing on our drive down. There's nowhere close for us to go racing, so it's definitely tough. And then once this pandemic hit, it shut everything down. We didn't really have a choice but to stay home.
No choice but to stay home. Right. I think the closest drag strip to Long Island is Atco, and Atco seems to be in some dire straits right now. What would it mean to lose Atco for Long Island drag racers?
Yeah, it's just getting farther and farther out there, So we lost Englishtown. It seems like Atco's going down as well. It's now over a 3.5 hour journey from home just to go and get to a drag strip. So it's unfortunate. It's a great sport, and really. It's tough, especially when you grew up around it, and you realize that so many people that are close to home are so blessed to have that situation. But it's a tough deal.
Definitely tough. But Johnny, you're not having a tough year so far for yourself in PDRA drag racing. You're having a exceptional good year. 2 wins, leading the points, and arguably doing it with not having the fastest car. Talk to me about the year so far in the PDRA with that strutmasters.com Ford Mustang.
Yeah, we feel like we're hitting our stride now. You know, we went out to the first race, qualified in the 4-hole, and got the win. You know, just being consistent out there and doing our job. Second race, went out there at Darlington and ran into JR car. We were in the 5-hole, ran into JR car in the semifinals. And when we did that, you know, I knew I had to push it on the start line because he was the the quickest car of really most of this season so far. So went out there, pushed it. Unfortunately, came up 00 red, and just had to pick up the pieces. And we went testing, wanted to improve our car a little bit. We know we have the stuff to run just as fast as anybody. We were running well, but wanted to pick it up 132 because 132 in this deal is everything. So Dad and I went out and tested in 100-degree weather, 140-degree racetrack temperatures. Tried some different things, and we were real happy with what we saw. Came out to the next race. We moved that up to number 2 spot. Just stayed consistent and made really good runs and made guys have to beat us. And again, we were probably the second quickest car consistently of that race. And come to the finals, he'd had to go 395 to beat us, and that wasn't going to happen. So we feel like we're hitting our stride. Excited to get out to Indy and go 220 plus miles an hour and see if we can keep them.
Yes, going quarter-mile drag racing for you Mountain Motor Pro Stockers this weekend at Indy. I've got to ask, with you mentioning that, are there any changes made to the car? I mean, any gear ratio changes? Do you have to change parachutes from the 1/8 of a mile? Is there anything else you might have to button down a little bit more, like a scoop, per se, to get down the quarter-mile?
For us, we're really going to be making a rear end change, and then once we do that, we'll have to make a transmission ratio change as well. Everything else pretty much is going to be mostly status quo. It's not a huge change for us, just the way we run our race car. But again, it's one of the other little minute changes. We're going from a PDRA prepped racetrack to an NHRA prep racetrack. It's a little bit different. Groove's a little bit narrower. We're running behind fuel cars and clutch dust and things like that. So it's a little bit of a curve there. We're going to do the best we can to read the racetrack and hope for the best. We have a good car. We have some laps. We ran NHRA a little bit last year, so hopefully we'll be able to look at some notes and come up with a good baseline and put our best foot forward.
All right, sounds good, man. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the Pluchino Racing team rocketing down the quarter-mile and getting to go over 220 miles per hour. That's going to be stellar, man. Love Mountain Motor Pro Stock in the quarter-mile. Definitely in the 1/8 mile as well, the PDRA. So, guys, look, hang tight. We're going to drop you out. I'm going to make a few mentions to a couple of fans here. Corey Roth. Corey, man, thank you for supporting Monday Morning Racer. Sup, brother? Love the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in and commenting. Folks, look, do just like Corey did. Comment. You got a question for Caleb. You got a question for Hector. You got a question for Johnny. Drop those questions in for these guys or for myself, the Monday Morning Racer. Feel free. And the boss man, Chip Lofton, thank you for watching, says hardcore for sure. All these guys are definitely hardcore in the drag racing world. They're still out there doing it and getting it done. Well, we're going to go back to Caleb. Caleb, man, look. Cruz is not just in drag racing. People, and there's more than just drag racing. People like to go back to the prelude to the dream, but there was dirt before the prelude to the dream, and there's been dirt after the prelude to the dream. So clue us in, fill us in for of all the things that Cruz is involved in beyond drag racing and in the world of motorsports, such as iRacing and dirt.
Yeah, Cruz, besides being a drag racer, he grew up running go-karts and on dirt ovals at Ascot Speedway out in California. So he's always had the dirt itch. At one time he was a dirt midget owner. He had three midgets that were running at Chili Bowl. He would run Chili Bowl himself. I think he competed in it about 6 times, ran Prelude to the Dream. I think at one point there was a Nitro funny car, a Nostalgia funny car, and a dirt late model, and I think 3 midgets in the shop at one time. So it's changed a little bit now. Now we just have a Chili Bowl midget. At one point we had a 410 non-wing sprint car, but I think we're going to push that thing on to maybe another dirt midget. But Cruz loves dirt track racing. He doesn't just drive straight. He can turn left on the dirt too. And iRacing simulator, we put a simulator together about 2.5, 3 years ago, and it was fun. We would get on to it, once in a while. And then when this pandemic hit and people were jonesing for racing, we got an opportunity with the World Outlaws, the sprint cars and the dirt late models to jump on and have him run with those guys. And I thought it was a great experience to see kind of Cruz. It's a little different running the video game than it is to the real car. So you got to see some frustrations where a younger guy like me who plays a good amount of video games and Cruz, who's, he's not the computer savvy video game guy, but it's kind of like any race car, anything, the more laps you put down, the better you get. So who knows, man? We also have the Nostalgia funny car. We have a 1977 Pontiac Trans Am. It runs 560s at 250, 260. So that's a fun, our hobby. Cruz has no other vices. He just likes nitro funny cars and dirt cars. So when we're not racing, we're at a track racing. So we never get a weekend off. We're always racing, but we love it.
Man, I love the sound of that. When we're not racing, we're racing. That's stellar. That's stellar. Look, I got to ask, so when's he going to bring out the sand rail or the sand funny car or whatever and get some of that in? I mean, he's doing on dirt. Do some straight line dirt. When's that going to happen?
Oh, you know what? I don't think he'll ever do that. His original car owner back in the day, Larry Miner, obviously people know Larry Miner from the McDonald's car, and then the nitro cars he had before that. I'm pretty sure he has sand rails. I think to Cruz, that's a little more sketchy than what we do right now. So I think he's going to stick to turning left on the dirt or just staying straight on the concrete.
All right, man. Well, look, since we talked about Cruz, his demeanor, what type of guy he is and working for, some people chimed in. And look, all positive. Let me bring some of these up. Scott says here, Cruz speaks his mind. Simple as that. Good for him. And look, I think we need more of that in racing. I personally do not like the watered-down professional image we get today. Want more people speaking their mind. Want more people saying, what's up, what's wrong. I loved it when he, got on Sean Langdon's case. I thought that was pretty good. I loved that.
That was funny because he comes back from the top end, and I'm as the car's pulling in, he's got the window down. He goes, "Did you hear what I said at the top end?" I said, "No." And then about 30 seconds later, just my phone starts blowing up. So I go, "What did you say?" And then I saw it on TV, and then, for the rest of the season, it was kind of back and forth-ish. But yeah, Cruz is, Cruz. He's passionate. He's going to stick to his guns. He's going to say what he wants to and what he thinks and believes. So, you got to give it to him. He's not cookie cutter. He's going to be himself. He's going to do and say what he wants to do.
Right. Well, Mikey V here says, I met him in the 90s. That was obviously definitely a good time for Cruz Pedregon, the only man to win a championship in the 90s other than John Force. He was friendly and took the time to talk for a minute. You know what? That's really all the fans are asking and looking for, and I definitely think Cruz provides that. And he even provided an interview, like I said, for this red-bearded, weird-talking, weird sunglasses-wearing guy. So I think he's pretty cool. And then Death Trap Hot Rod says, I like competitive people. And, man, in racing, again, that professional image has, I think, really bit into racing and the edge, the teeth of racers, as it were, and just how competitive these guys used to show themselves. It's like it's got to be bottled up now. And, man, I really ought to think it ought to spill out. I think that's far more enjoyable.
For sure. My biggest takeaway is, do I like everybody out the racetrack? yes and no. I am completely respectful, and I know the guys and crews, everyone, we're respectful of each other. We respect everybody's craft. We respect everybody's ability. When it's race day, it's every man for himself. The way I think about it is we're racing to take food off of somebody's table. So the whole, hugging and stuff at the top end, that some guys don't want to do that, man. It's like, you just beat me. I'm trying to make a house payment a little bit easier, and you just took money off my plate. So, Fridays and Saturdays, yeah, it's cool, it's fun, it's qualifying. Sundays, it's game day. And being like a football player, you strap that helmet on and put your mouthpiece in and bite down and get ready to go, because we're coming for that win.
Coming for that win, definitely. Well, look, man, again, thank you for the insights. Hold on, we're going to go back to Johnny and Hector, and then we're going to have the last few rounds of questions before I let y'all scoot. Enjoy the rest of your evening. So, Johnny, Hector, Johnny, to you first. Let me bring in a few comments. John, who is this guy? Let's see. John Montecavo. He asks this, Johnny, tell us about what ratios you are changing to. Give us some numbers. Would you like to give Mr. Machine Gun the information to what you're switching to this weekend?
Are you referring to BB Gun Monty?
Yeah. Oh, man. BB Gun Monty. Oh, my goodness. There you go.
So, yeah, I'll give him some numbers. They probably won't be accurate, but if he wants numbers, I can give him some numbers.
Folks, if you don't know, John Montecalvo, last year's PDRA Extreme Pro Stock champion, will be competing also in Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Obviously, they have a good, fun relationship with the Pluchinos, but they want to beat them, and the Pluchinos want to beat them. Sorry, John, couldn't get no accurate numbers for you this evening. Also, Randy Pettit, he wants to say belated happy birthday, Johnny Pluchino. Tell your dad I said hi. Good luck at Indy. So that's from Randy here at strutmasters.com. So, yeah, man, you turned 30. Feel any older?
You said that a little too loud. 30, yeah, 30. It's hopefully I can still let the clutch out on time in my 30s.
Hey, speaking of age, John chimes in again here for you, man. He says, just give me my senior discount on the tree. Man,
We'll let him hit the early bird dinner if he likes. He can get out of the track early.
Johnny telling you can leave early and get the early bird special at, hey, Flapjacks. Folks, if you've never ate at Flapjacks, eat at Flapjacks in Brownsburg. Maybe they have a early bird special there on Sunday. I'm not sure, but John, if you happen to go out, go check it out there at Flapjacks. Well, look, Hector, man, Pro Stock Motorcycle is crazy competitive. I mean, it's just crazy competitive. Fields are tight. Y'all have to be so close on the lights. And drag racing fans know that, and I'm sure regularly you all get asked, how hard is it to make a field, or how hard is it to be competitive? But I want to add just a slight nuance to it. How hard is it to stay competitive in the class and remain there? Because a lot of pro stock motorcycle riders seem to come in and go out. So how do you have longevity in such a competitive and challenging class?
I have to start off by thanking Lucas Oil for that. They provided us with an amazing lifetime opportunity. We've been with them for 26 years now, so if it wasn't for Forrest, Lucas, and Lucas Oil, we wouldn't be competitive for as many years as we have been. But it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. My father's at the shop every day, working on the bikes, trying to look for any little minute horsepower there is, and we still struggle. We've been fast. We're not at the top level that we were in 2018. Hopefully, we figured some things out in between this first race, Indy 1, and now, and we'll see. But it's been tough. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but we've been able to do it.
Definitely been able to do it, been able to break through barriers, win races, so y'all are definitely getting the job done. Well, guys, look, I'm going to bring back in Caleb. I'm going to give y'all the last round of questions, and then we'll let you all go on and enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll shut it down here at the strutmasters.com headquarters in Roxborough, North Carolina. So, to each and every one of you, and we'll let Caleb pick it up first, post COVID-19, is NHRA drag racing stronger or weaker, and why? Go ahead, Caleb.
I think we're stronger. I think Force comes back. Mike Salinas comes back. I think the way that our team and I think our sport as a whole is coming together, and you see the fans, you see the teams. Hey, whatever has to be done for us to go out and race, we're going to get done, and we're going to push through, and we're going to get better. And I think I can't thank the fans more for seeing what they're doing in Indy, obeying the rules and everything to that nature. But we're coming back stronger. NHRA is here to stay for a long time, and new drive, you're going to see some young guns step up and become legends, and it's going to be a fun next 10-15 years.
All right, good positive word there from Caleb. Yes, fans, you can go to Indy this weekend. You got to have your mask. I've got my Competition Plus mask. Got the funny car on there. Looks like Bob Tasca. Looks like it. Go Bob. I like Ford, but go Cruz. Go Cruz. Yeah, go Cruz. And go any car with strutmasters.com on it. And that's definitely Johnny Pluchino. Johnny, same question to you. Is the NHRA stronger or weaker after COVID? And give me your thoughts on PDRA as well.
You broke up just for a second there, Lee. Can you just give me the question one more time?
Yeah, sure, man. Sure. Yeah, that's why I am here. So, look, of the NHRA, do you think that after COVID, it's going to be stronger or weaker? Also, give me your thoughts on the PDRA.
Well, I would hope just racing in general. I would hope maybe the old saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And, instead of NHRA not feeling a 24-race season and PDRA season being down, that maybe the fans and the drivers and racers will all rally, 2021 and further. And we'll get together and kind of make this thing a little bit better every year. As far as the PDRA goes, just want to thank an organization for doing whatever they can to get us out there and put on a hell of a show. If fans who are watching right now haven't been to a PDRA race before, you like door slam or drag racing, you're really missing out. It's got a lot of really tight, competitive, exciting door slam or drag racing, from the fastest and quickest, top sportsman, top dragster cars out there in existence, to Mountain Motor Pro Stock side by side, nitrous pro mods, blower pro mods. It's got a little bit of everything door slammer action wise. So, I'm drag racing through and through. I'm here to support it the best we can, and just want to thank partners like strutmasters.com for keeping us out here and trying to entertain the fans.
Cool deal, man. Hector, your thoughts after COVID-19 for NHRA drag racing?
I don't know that I could say it any better than Caleb and Johnny, other than we definitely realize how much we miss and love drag racing. It's in our blood, and I think we're all going stir crazy not being out the track. We're working hard at the shop, still working the crazy hours and looking for all the horsepower, and we're ready to go wide open racing, nonstop. So we definitely miss it. It's in our blood, and we can't wait to go back to normal and a regular season with racing and fans. It also, it brings an appreciation to the fans that come to the sport. It's not the same without the fans. It's almost like you're at a test session. So I know we're going to have some fans this weekend, So we're looking forward to that. But I can't wait for it to be full capacity fans, signing autographs, taking pictures. It's a great time, and we enjoy it, and we miss you guys.
Well, speaking of fans, gentlemen, Death Trap Hot Rods, he chimed in. He says here, I believe racing will be alive and well after this virus. I concur, man, definitely. And Scott, he mentions this, speaking of the fans as a fan, NHRA and PDRA fans will fill the stands next year. We miss our sport. So definitely, people, I think the fans will also gain an appreciation, whereas drivers have also gained it as well. Look, gentlemen, my appreciation is to each and every one of you. Thank you for being on Between the Slicks. For every fan watching, for I myself, the Monday Morning Racer, Hector, Johnny, Caleb, thank you for being on. Look, I'm going to take you out. You can hang out in the lobby, and I'm going to shut this thing down because I'm popping the parachutes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lee.
All right, folks, thank you for joining me, the Monday Morning Racer, here on Between the Slicks. Let me make mention and answer my own question. Yes, I think drag racing in general will be stronger after COVID-19. The PDRA is gaining a lot of press and a lot of steam through the absence of the NHRA with having a 24-race full season. So they're definitely gaining traction. Also, the ADRL, oddly enough, as strange as it is, they picked 2020 to fire back up that sanctioning body with their premier class in Pro Extreme. And you would think 2020 would have been the worst year to do it, and it might have been the best year for them to do it because they're able to go racing when other sanctioning bodies are not able to do it. So the PDRA, the ADRL, they are making gains in the drag racing world. Check them out. And for the NHRA, I do believe if they will take what they learn from this time and apply it to next year, 2-date races into the future with 3 rounds of qualifying, possibly a true round of qualifying in the night with the header flames of a light down the 1,000 feet, possibly adding some quarter-mile events. If they will look at this year and say, we're going to try this, we're going to work this out, we're going to come back 2020 stronger than ever, I think it will be a good year for the NHRA and be a good future for the NHRA. But if they attempt just to bring back the old model, I think they lose ground to the PDRA, the ADRL, and other such bodies of drag racing. Well, look, fans, thank you for joining in. Let me say to a special fan, that's Mom giving me the smiley face. Hi, Mom, glad to have you on. And I want to close with this. SBC Comedy asks, when are you coming back to Lancaster Dragway? Look, for any of you that were following me while I was oftentimes going to New York International Raceway Park, Lancaster Dragway, and covering the drag racing action there, let me be clear and inform you. One, I'm no longer living in New York. I live in North Carolina, in Roxborough, North Carolina. I work at the headquarters of strutmasters.com. By the way, they're offering air suspension for trucks now. Check that out at strutmasters.com. So, living in North Carolina, it's obviously hard to cover racing there in New York, just outside of Buffalo. But my heart is with Lancaster Dragway. I hope it's the years it has ahead of it, with Vito at the helm and other partners and race masters such as Grant Farmer with the Buffalo Street Outlaws, that they have their best years ahead. I do hope to get back to Lancaster soon. I planned to get there this year, but with COVID, it looks like it might not happen for me at all in 2020. But Lancaster, I will keep my eye on you, and I will return like MacArthur in the Philippines. But this time to film racing there at Lancaster Dragway. I miss my nostalgia guys. I miss the Buffalo Street Outlaw guys and the Supercharged Bounty Hunter guys. I miss them definitely. To each and every one of you, thank you for watching Between the Slicks. Hey, get the word out about this show, that we take your comments, we get your questions out there. Hey, thank you. And until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.